Attention passionate Seattle SCHNEIDER fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle SCHNEIDER fans. Let's get to the news all right, folks. Today we're diving into some explosive rumors and potential moves that could shake up the NFC West, and more specifically the Seattle Seahawks defense. It's not every day we hear about a blockbuster trade that could significantly alter the landscape of the division, especially when it involves a player as impactful as Quinnen Williams. This is a story that has been gaining momentum, and it's worth dissecting every detail, every angle, and what it could mean for the Seahawks in their quest for another Super Bowl appearance. Now, let's set the stage. Right now, the New York Jets are sitting at 3-5, and their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, has been showing flashes of his former self with a QBR of 83.7. But even with that, the Jets seem to be in a bit of a rebuild mode, especially on defense. They've been prioritizing trimming cap space, about $30 million, to retool their roster, focusing on their wide receivers and offensive line, but their defensive line is also a point of concern. And that's where the big news comes in. Rumors suggest that the Jets could be willing to trade Quinnen Williams, their all-pro defensive tackle, to the Seahawks. Yeah, you heard that right, the Seahawks. Sources indicate that the Jets are contemplating trading Williams in exchange for Seattle's first-round pick in 2026 and a second-round pick in 2027. And that's not even the most surprising part. This deal could include an additional $30 million in cap space that the Seahawks could reallocate, mainly to bolster their wide receiver core and offensive line, which have been areas of concern this season. The Jets, on the other hand, are looking to reset their roster after a disappointing start, especially as they prioritize rebuilding their defensive front, aiming to emulate the success other teams like the Bills had in 2024 when they reset their defensive line after a rebuild. Now, let's talk about Quinnen Williams himself, because this isn't just any player. Williams is a disruptor, an interior force, an all-pro caliber talent that's been a nightmare for offensive lines across the league. In 2025, he's been dominant, with 7.5 sacks, 22 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. He boasts a PFF grade of 92.5, which is elite, and despite battling a back injury in Week 4, he's been a consistent presence on the field. His ability to disrupt plays from the interior makes him one of the most feared defenders in the league right now. He's accumulated 45 sacks over his career, along with 280 tackles and 10 forced fumbles, and he's known for winning 80% of his bull rush matchups. That's the kind of player who can change the complexion of a defense overnight. And when we look at the Seahawks' defense, especially their interior line, this move makes a ton of sense. Seattle has been searching for that disruptive force, that anchor on the defensive line capable of elevating the entire unit. They've been relying heavily on Jarran Reed returning from injury, but his status is still questionable. Adding Williams would not only bolster the interior with a player who can consistently generate pressure, but it also shifts the entire dynamic of the Seahawks' pass rush. Imagine a defensive front that can generate 12 sacks from Williams alone. His projection for 2025, similar to what Aaron Donald has been doing with the Rams. Plus, his presence could lead to about 15 pressures per game, echoing the Rams' impact in past seasons. What's especially interesting is the impact on turnovers and overall defensive efficiency. Williams' disruptive style creates more opportunities for forced turnovers, about 13% more according to some projections, and that's huge for a Seahawks team that's been battling injuries and inconsistency on defense. His ability to draw double teams, which he does at a rate of 22%, opens up space for other players like Mafe, who has a PFF grade of 79.3. That means the Seahawks could see a significant rise in pressure and disruption, even if their secondary isn't at full strength. And the defense's yards allowed could drop by around 15%, a substantial improvement considering how much the league values interior pressure and run-stopping ability. Now, you might be wondering, what does this mean in terms of the Seahawks' season and their Super Bowl aspirations? Well, the odds for Seattle winning the Super Bowl have already been moving, initially at plus 1,800, now down to plus 800, which signals that the betting market is starting to believe in their potential. Adding a player like Williams could be the final piece of the puzzle, turning what has been a solid defensive unit into a formidable fortress capable of shutting down some of the best defenses in the league. Considering that Williams has been a playoff interior terror, he's known for elevating his game in the postseason. This move could be the difference between a deep run and an early exit. And let's not forget the historical context. Seattle's defense has been a key part of their success over the years, especially when they've had a strong interior presence. Think back to recent seasons where disruptive defensive tackles have been the cornerstone of a championship defense. If the Seahawks manage to pull off this trade, it could set a new standard for their defensive identity. The combination of Williams' disruptive ability and the returning Reed, assuming he's healthy, would give Seattle a front seven that's not just good, but elite. That's exactly the kind of improvement they need to compete at the highest level and challenge NFC powers like the Eagles or the 49ers. Of course, there are questions and hurdles. Will the Jets actually trade Williams? What will the final price be? How will the Seahawks fit him under the cap? And even more importantly, how will this change the chemistry and locker room dynamics? But if the deal goes through, it's clear that the Seahawks are making a statement, that they're all in on contending now, not just dreaming about the future. It's a bold move that signals their commitment to building a championship-winning defense, one that can impose its will on both the run and the pass, and that can dominate in the postseason. Looking ahead, this potential acquisition also fits into the broader narrative of the NFC West. The division has been fiercely competitive, with the 49ers and Eagles showing strength on both sides of the ball. The Seahawks, with this kind of upgrade, could elevate their status from a solid playoff team to serious Super Bowl contenders. Their revamped defense would be a nightmare for offenses, and their offense, led by Geno Smith, could benefit from having a more stable and dominant defensive front to complement their offensive schemes. And as fans, you have to be excited about what this could mean. The Seahawks have always been known for their resilience, their ability to find ways to win, and now with the possibility of adding a player like Quinnen Williams, they might be on the verge of reestablishing themselves as one of the league's premier defenses. It's a story that's unfolding right before our eyes, and the implications could be felt all the way through the playoffs and into the next Super Bowl. So stay tuned, because this isn't just rumor mill chatter. It's a real possibility that could redefine the Seahawks' season and their future. Keep your eyes on the news, your ears open for updates, and your passion for the Seahawks burning bright. Because if this move happens, it's going to be one of the most exciting developments in recent franchise history. And honestly, isn't that what we all love about football? The drama, the big moves, the quest for greatness. Well, folks, it looks like the Seahawks are about to make a bold statement, and I, for one, can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Seattle Seahawks news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe the Seahawks should pull the trigger and go all in for Quinnen Williams? How do you see him fitting into the defense, and what kind of impact do you think he could have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks. This team has always been about passion, resilience, and the drive to win, and with moves like this, they could be on the verge of a true renaissance. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and everything you need to stay in the loop with your Seattle Seahawks. So stay tuned, keep the faith, and let's get ready for what promises to be an incredible season ahead. Go Seahawks!